Welcome back to Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Coach Brian. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. This is They Want You to Quit Because It's Working. Now, many times in my coaching career, I've witnessed people who quit, who give up on themselves, even though they are not only making progress, but they are going beyond the goals that they set for themselves. And what I've seen is that they don't quit because they stop believing in themselves, but because they are getting pressure from the crowd around them. They end up choosing social comfort over personal conviction. They end up choosing the approval of the crowd around them rather than the personal satisfaction of seeing their path to the end. It can happen insidiously and slowly. A person starts building momentum and seeing the results from their work. They find something that clicks, a way of training or a system that sees them moving forward, that sees them producing results. You can literally see a difference in them. Their body changes, maybe they lose weight or they gain muscle tone. Their energy picks up and they move around more peppy and with more purpose, and their eyes become clearer and more sharp. But then the people around them start applying pressure. It can be that friend pretending to mean well. It can be a coworker, or in my instance, even another coach, or even a family member who has began to feel uncomfortable watching someone else rise. It's always the same lines. Everyone else does it this way. You don't want to burn out. You're taking this too seriously. You are changing, or even, in my case, Coach Brian doesn't know what he's doing. And in many instances, that's all it takes for someone to begin to fold, for them to begin to give up on themselves. The personal growth that they're witnessing begins to make them feel isolated. And for them, they start to believe that to slow down or even to give up is easier than taking a stand and catching heat from the crowd. And man, I've seen it so many times. They'll begin to slide back into those old habits. They'll start acting like the crowd around them because that feeling of being accepted at first feels like a sense of relief. But in the long run, that relief costs them self-esteem and self-respect. And the truth is, most people don't actually quit because of failure or lack of results. They quit because growth feels uncomfortable, or they're in a crowd where being mentally and physically fit makes them stand apart from the others and makes the others uncomfortable. And many people would rather go along with the herd than to lead themselves. They trade authenticity for a false sense of peace. They trade progress for the approval of people who would not like to see them rise. They stop going after what gives them a personal sense of value because it separates them from the crowd. And they don't know how to handle that feeling of separation. But here's the thing. Every time you make a breakthrough, you're going to face those moments. The world is going to test you whether you truly mean what you say. It's going to tempt you to water yourself down in order to fit in with your old crowd. And that's when you have to decide. Do you want to fit in with this crowd that keeps themselves down and keeps you down? Or do you want to keep moving forward and growing your personal power? Every person that I have seen reach their personal potential has done it the same way. They stopped explaining themselves. They stopped softening what works for them. They let others talk while they keep doing their thing. If something is working for you towards your goals, that's when it's time to double down. That's when it's time to protect that practice. You're not seeking applause and you're not waiting for permission from the crowd. And most people don't realize this until long after it's too late and they have a feeling of not being able to escape. The crowd around you will say, you've changed. And that's good. You're supposed to change. That's what progress is meant for. And the crowd will always try to pull you back because your progress exposes their discomfort or their lack of ability. And that is the real reason that they press you. That is the real reason that they mock what works. Keep your results, keep your rhythm, keep your integrity, and keep doing what is working. The easy route is packed with people who have given up on themselves. The harder route is where the few people who stayed loyal to what works keep moving forward. If you're one of these people making progress, stay on that path. You're not lost, you're just alone, and that's only for now. That's exactly what strength might look like in the beginning. So what do you gain by staying with what works? When you stay with what works, everything starts to align. You stop scattering your energy and you start building on a solid foundation. Each step forward reinforces trust in your own path. You gain clarity. You clearly see what creates results and what doesn't. You understand the connection between effort and outcome. The process becomes clean, direct, and efficient. You gain strength. Real strength, the kind that is built through quiet consistency, the kind that keeps you solid in the face of doubt or fatigue. Every session, every step, every decision builds a stronger foundation. You gain control over yourself. You no longer chase impulse or emotion. You decide how to act. You decide when to act. And you decide how deep you're willing to go. Staying with what works for you trains your mind to lead rather than to follow or to react. You gain peace of mind. The mental chatter that comes from worrying about what other people think fades away. You don't need to explain yourself. You're no longer pulled by the doubts or the opinions of others. You can hear your own thoughts again. You gain presence and your actions begin to speak for themselves. The way you move, the way you hold yourself begins to reflect all the work that you've put in. You stop trying to prove yourself to people who will never approve of you, and you start living in the house that you've built. You gain purpose. The routine becomes more than simply repetition. You're refining yourself. Each day that you stay the course, you're building mastery over yourself. The continued work will make you sharper, calmer, and far more capable. You gain self-respect. There's a powerful confidence that comes from knowing that you didn't give in to those who would like to see you fail, that you stayed with it, that you kept building despite the doubt around you, that you stayed loyal to yourself when the world around you told you that you needed to turn back. And that's what happens when you keep what works alive. You become someone who can't be shaken up by the doubts of others. Because you see what happens when you stop listening and start leading from within. Once again, I'm Coach Brian with Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. This has been They Want You to Quit Because It's Working. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. If you have your own personal practice for staying your course, comment those below. Share this content with like-minded individuals or anyone you think it can help. And most importantly, practice. You can hire me to coach you online or in person by contacting me at northwestelitespirit@gmail.com. You can find my books, The ABCs of Strength and Endurance and Running Made Easy, on Amazon and Kindle. Thank you.